You know, you can tell the current administration is very scary when even Nick Fuentes, of all people, is like, huh, I sure hope nothing bad happens to me. That's what we got to talk about today. But first, let's go ahead and celebrate the people who have spent their time celebrating this channel. I owe it to y'all, so let's go ahead and quickly get the fan art section going. This one is from Rena the Villain. Said, may not look much like real Suris, but I bionicalized Suris as a Toa Metru, complete with the Kakama Nuva mask because he needs its speed to get the hell out of Georgia. Also, this is based off of the more masculine Suris model. I chose Kakama Nuva since it was the most cat-like mask in stud.iq. You know what? As a reader of the Bionicle comics, as a young Bionicle fan, I appreciate this. I really, really do. The next one we have here is from Scarlet Necromancer. Said, recently Villain uploaded a Lego Suris, and the first thing I thought of was a FNAF Suris, so I decided to make it a reality. Kind of convenient since I recently started learning to draw horror-themed art. There we go. I'm honestly proud of this one. I think it is my new favorite art piece. So, yeah, no, just broken animatronic Suris, and there would still be people trying to fuck it. I don't know why those people exist, but they would be there anyway. As always, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown,
I'm back.
Ah, you're back. Thank you for the resubscription. Hi, but I don't know why those people exist, but they do exist. Thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, holy freaking shit, today's video comes to us from Right Wing Watch, clipped away from Nick Fuentes' stream. It's much. It's much, and we are gonna go over it right now.
I do want to express some concerns here. Seeing Trump move in such an aggressive way, it is a little bit frightening.
Is it?
Because it is
You wanted this.
destabilizing.
Yeah? His entire thing is chaos and destabilizing the government so that he can remake it in his own image. What? There's no surprise here.
When you see the empire directed like this, and when you see the might of American empire directed like this, you realize that this has a lot of gravity to it. There is a weight to it. America is this juggernaut, and it can crush everything in its path. And if we have this extremely energetic executive branch that is making these moves like that, you wonder who gets crushed.
Yeah, that's the reason why the left has been trying to let people who are any flavor of LGBTQ understand that throwing trans people under the bus is not going to help them, Nick. That's the reason why that whole conversation's happened. Also, thank you very much for the Hydrate Wingcaster. Because first it's the trans people, then it's the gay people, then it's the black people, then it's the Latino people. Or you can mix the numbers around since ICE raids have been happening to Native fucking Americans for some reason. It's the consequences of your actions. What did you expect?
And you wonder if the good guys might get crushed. People like us, people like the Groypers, people like opponents of Israel, opponents of the H-1B visas, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, people who are fucking idiotic. I'm not in favor of all the shit Israel's doing, but I swear to God, if you lump me in with the Groypers, I'm gonna go fucking kill myself. I'm gonna just grab my freaking yeet cannon and yeet cannon my brains. Nick, you're not one of the good guys, but I understand that everybody on the internet believes that they are one of the good guys. You always believe you're the superhero, never the supervillain. You never see that you're the Nazi. Or at the very least, you never see that the Nazis were the bad guys.
When you see the hammer come down, you hope that you're outside of it. It feels good when it's illegals. It felt good when it was Muslims under George W. Bush, if you're a conservative. But what happens when it's nationalists?
Yeah, Nick. What happens when the government has overbearing authority to crush its citizens? What happens when the death penalty can be wielded basically ad nauseum? What happens then, Nick? What happens then, dumbass?
What happens when they turn those weapons that were built in the Patriot Act after 9/11 against the Trump supporters? What happens when they turn the weapons they're using against the people in Gaza and the Hezbollah supporters on the campus and the illegals? What happens when they turn that on the so-called real neo-Nazis, the so-called real white nationalists?
Yeah, Nick, what happens? What happens when you give the government overbranching authority to be authoritarian and fascist? It ends up hitting everyone. Also, Aimless Progeny, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Yes, Merrick, you can. The goal now is to recognize that we are watching shit that is terrifying, and we need a little bit of levity. We need a little bit of humor. We need Merrick Rand giving a bunch of channel points so that I'm forced to say, ow, wow, 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 wow. Also, Vanguard Christie as well. Ow, wow, 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 that one. There you go. You've done your thing. You've done your thing. Senna, thank you very much for redeeming your points for an owl. All right, cool. Now you're stunlocking me. But, and Terran Ambassador, thank you for redeeming your points for an you fucking degen. Especially you. I understand now. I understand why I had those things on cooldowns before. Said, wait, fascism's actually bad? Yes, Black Rose, it's so weird. It's so weird that fascism is actually bad when the fascism is happening. Maybe it's not good. You see, people who actually give a shit about free speech have been talking about this shit for a long time, about government overreach. About how bad government overreach is for everybody. A real free speech absolutist wants Nick Fuentes. I'm not a real free speech absolutist, but were I one, I would want Nick Fuentes to be free to be as much of a shitlord as he possibly wants. And yeah, being terrified that the government may come down on you is a legitimate concern, Nick. You can't constantly say, oh, I'm a campus Latino, and then not be a little bit worried that ICE is raiding where they are, right? Siriso says it was fucking hilarious that everybody was calling Biden a fascist or a communist. Remember that? Yeah, it's really strange to me that we had people who were willing to say that Biden was engaging in overreach, and now we're watching Trump actually do overreach, and we can just go, no, that's what overreach looks like. All those executive orders, that's what overreach looks like. Not whatever the fuck thing Fox News told you Biden was doing. Depraved Ambient says there sure is a lot of concern over people's faces being eaten by leopards from a bunch of the people who voted for the Leopards Eating Faces party suddenly. Yeah, there is. Though I do want to go ahead and point out, the Leopards Eating Faces thing has never been a truly effective argument because nobody believes that their face is going to be eaten. They always believe they're on the right side of history. They always believe they're in the good graces of whomever the fuck, right? They always believe that with 100% certainty. You cannot convince somebody whose face is going to be eaten that their face is going to be the one that is eaten. And even if you can, of what use is it? There's no use in it anymore because at that point it's too late. At that point they've already voted in the fascists. At that point, they've already done everything mechanically required to send us spiraling downward. This is why we're going to be having a harder focus on the Socratic method on this channel. Why do you think the hammer's not going to come down on you? Why do you think you're safe? Why do you think it's okay for the government to be able to enact the death penalty on people? Do you think that they always get the right people 100% of the time? And if they do, if they don't, why do you think it's okay for them to try? ZethcraftX says, so how many generations back did Fuentes' family come here? I don't fucking know. He looks white enough.
The real conspiracy theorists, the black pillars, what happens then? And that's why I'm a little bit concerned about it.
Yeah, you know what? Good on you to be concerned. Maybe you've just now realized the issues with your position. Except he won't. Because again, he believes he's one of the good guys. The problem is he believes he's one of the good guys, so he's okay with government overreach happening when it comes down on the people who he doesn't like. He's never gonna get there. Nick Fuentes is an irredeemable psychopath. He's never gonna get to the point where he realizes that the overreach that's happening in the government is actually a problem at all.
I do want to express some concern.
I don't know why that replayed. But it is heartbreaking when the worst person you know actually makes a pretty decent point. Not a new point. Not a unique point. Just a point. Just a point. When a fascist supporter realizes that they're nothing more than a useful token. But don't worry, this is just a bit. He's going to be back on to praising all the dumb shit Trump is doing in about 2 hours. Always will. Always did. There's never going to be a time where Nick Fuentes learns that his usefulness is up and that he'll be disposed of. That's never a lesson he's going to truly ever learn until it's too late. Dr. Apple Pie says, I believe he'll get there the same way a narcissist will after they lose everything and have nothing to blame with themselves. No. I've watched a narcissist lose everything, and they didn't blame themselves. It was always somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Not all narcissists are bad, but narcissism is a thing that people rarely actually recover from. Axo says, your body, my choice. What do you mean I can't make choices about my body right now? Yeah, weird. Siriso says, I would give everything I could times 1 billion for just an ounce of karma in the world right now. Yeah. The government is going to continue to use weapons that were designed ostensibly to make sure that foreign adversaries could not do things against us, and they are still going to use those against American citizens, because the real enemy of any tyrant is never an outside force. Tyrants can make deals with outside forces. The real enemy of every tyrant is the citizens within its own country's borders. And so that's who the weapons are always going to be designed for, first and foremost. I have nothing else to say on this. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.